Kosmika. Hello everybody. How is everyone doing? How are you pages? 皆様ページたちごきげんよう。元気でしょうか? Hello. Hope you all had a lovely day today. Sorry for the delayed start. Okay, we are back with more Final Fantasy for the After Years. And we are going to continue grinding as we have been. We're getting closer. We're getting closer to having everyone get to level 40. I think we only have a few left that are level 37. I think the majority of the others are 38 now. That's what I'm checking right now. Let's see. Okay, only one more in here. That's not in the party. That's 37. You're the only member from Power Guy's stream that came here. I appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see. So I'm thinking, actually, I was wondering what we should watch today while we're grinding. I feel like I kind of want to try watching a movie this time, but one of the free movies that are on YouTube. I won't play the sound on stream though. But since it'll be a free movie, then everyone should be able to access it on YouTube. I'll have the video on screen. But the audio will not be playing through the stream. Hello? That's my idea right now. I've got a request. Oh, thank you for reminding me. There is I did see one thing that someone shared on Discord. We can watch that. Yeah, we'll watch that first. But if you've got a request, you can go ahead and share it if you'd like. Let me grab the window to play this video. Not that one. Or that one. Or that one. This one. It's a really good free movie on YouTube. Okay? Is that a timestamp? It is. That's okay. I'll grab this link instead. It's the SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water. Oh, is that on YouTube right now? That's actually on theme for this channel. I've come to associate myself with SpongeBob in a fashion. Okay. So this video is about, oh, okay. This video is about a speedrunner who cheated. A speedrunner that was doing a Super Mario 64 speedrun, but they cheated. You made it. You made it. Okay, let me get this video on screen. Hello. Okay, there it is. Let me get the audio going. And today I made sure to have dinner before stream, so it's not so it's not as much as a distraction during stream. I feel like that caused me to like barely make any progress yesterday, so I don't want to do that again. Hello, Emmanuel. Okay. Let me go out of the ship. And let's see. Let's make sure the audio is working correctly. Oh no, it's not. Okay, I didn't turn it on. Oops. My name is Kosmika. Kosmikameruhen.
Despite the immense popularity of Super Mario 64 speedrunning, there is a comparatively small amount of people running the blindfolded categories, a testament to how difficult blindfolded speedrunning really is. And so it was surprising when I was on Twitch this week and was notified of another runner doing blindfolded 16-star runs. Blindfolded runs of Super Mario 64 have recently been made popular by a small but extremely dedicated group of runners. However, there are clear differences between the runs that those already established players have done and the runs that this particular person is completing. The main difference, of course, being that this particular runner is creating fake runs and attempting to pass them off as real. I have here a video of one of these runs, and I aim to show some of the clear discrepancies between this run and the genuine blindfolded runs of SM64 that are out there. When watching this run, it's important to note that the author claims not to have practiced blindfolded speedrunning much at all, and that this is apparently only his third blindfolded run.
That's a red flag right there.
Super Mario 64 for the past 3.5 years. However, it should.
That's a red flag right there. That they haven't practiced doing the speed runs blind at like much, because when you're doing speed runs blindfolded, I've seen this on GDQ, I think it's called. It's been so long since I've watched it. There's a channel on Twitch, or it's like an organization really. They have like a semi-annual semi-annual streams where they have where they do a charity, and it's all like speed runs of different games. It's really fascinating actually. You're from the USA? Nice. Thank you. And there was actually what game was it? There was someone that did a legitimate blindfolded speed run of something. Actually, it may have actually been Super Mario 64. But you could tell that he was doing it like legitimately, because you can hear and see what he was counting his steps, right? And like he was like, you could tell like the blindfold was completely, covering his eyes. He couldn't see anything at all. He was going by the sound of the game, which is like, I feel like the obvious way to do it. Hello. Okay, but it looks like this person was cheating and making fake speedruns of being blindfolded.
It should be noted that despite the amount of time he has spent on the game, the best time on a run he has currently submitted is in 1826. A relatively mid-level time for 16-star. The first thing that actually put me off when I was watching this run was the fact that the streamer had both follow alerts and text-to-speech alerts on.
Yeah, that's a...
If you've ever seen a blindfolded speedrun before, you will know that runners pretty much always have these kind of sound alerts turned off.
Yeah.
Considering how important sound cues are when you literally can't see, you would think that he would do the same. However, this guy is so good, he apparently doesn't even need clear sound cues to do the run. Throughout this run, he also attempts multiple times to explain the strategies that he's been using, except there are multiple problems with what he's saying versus the things he's actually doing. He mainly claims to be using a combination of sound cues and muscle memory for most of his strats. Most speedrunners know, however, that visual cues in particular are just as important as muscle memory in many cases. It's very unrealistic to assume that anyone could just casually do a blindfolded run off of visual muscle memory alone, no matter how long that person has been playing.
I've tried to do
some dude.
I can't do 1-star blindfolded. Like, even though I've played this game for years and years and years, even trying to do 1-star blindfolded is insanely difficult.
Blindfolded speedruns often employ what are called normalized strategies. A normalized strategy is any strat that is done in such a way that the outcome is always exactly the same. In Super Mario 64, many of these kinds of strategies can be employed. For example, moving in a cardinal direction on a controller with notches, using 2 slow walks to ledge grab at the corner of a platform, or punching against a wall to push Mario backwards a fixed distance are all normalized strats. As you can imagine, these kinds of strats are often completely different from the ones you would see in a normal run, and require hundreds of hours to properly learn. And yet this person is claiming to have a 33-minute time after openly admitting to having little to no preparation. Keep that in mind when you look at the so-called blindfolded strats that are claimed to be employed here. The run begins in Bob-omb Battlefield with Behind the Chain Chomp's Gate. Looking at a legitimate example by Bubzia, you can see that a consistent setup with clear intention is being used in order to get onto the Chain Chomp's pole. Note the use of a notched angle and fixed camera in order to guarantee a direct path to the pole from the corner of the gate. Comparatively, this runner seems to have absolutely no normalized setup whatsoever. He takes what looks like either an intentional death or a legitimate mistake, and then tries again a second time. This time around, he seems to be using an almost completely different, yet still unnormalized setup to get onto the pole. The unexpected hit that he takes here from the chain chomp should have immediately thrown him off.
We're gonna run.
And yet he is somehow still able to turn around and recover. The runner seems to be using intentional mistakes along with fake setups to try to sell the idea that he's actually blindfolded.
Oh no!
Many more of these will come up throughout the run. The run is already off to a suspicious start. However, the first absolutely massive red flag appears in Womp's Fortress when the runner decides to opt for Owless, a strat usually reserved for sighted runs. It should be noted how much the runner is talking during this very input-heavy and spacing-dependent section.
Did I check for saves? No, because I don't save the game.
Again, anyone who has watched a real blindfolded speedrun before knows how quiet runners tend to be during difficult sections.
Yeah.
With how much focus and skill are required to complete a blindfolded run, it's an anomaly that this runner with barely any practice is so casually able to do a strat that no other blindfolded runner has attempted. And yet with absolutely no normalized strats, he seems to do everything with some relative ease. Looking at a run that this same runner has done without a blindfold, you can actually see that he can do the exact same movements, blindfold or not. His muscle memory must really be that good. On his first attempt, he is able to triple jump wall kick up to the floating island without giving himself any sort of indication where he is.
Are you talking about Super Mario 64?
With no normalization, he's able to attempt and fail Owless 3 times before finally landing it a 4th time. He even comments on the fact that he should probably learn how to use the owl blindfolded.
Maybe I should learn how to just ride the owl blindfolded.
It's anyone's guess why he didn't opt to learn this much more consistent strat in the first place. In the next star, he goes for the traditional cannonless setup that you would normally see in most sighted runs. Once again, looking at a blindfolded version of this strat, there is a clear intention with every input using normalized movements and guaranteed setups. Looking back at this run, however, the movement across the falling bridge and over to the piranha plant is extremely wobbly and very inconsistent. He then lines up next to the plank using these extremely small adjustments that have no audio cues whatsoever. Anyone that runs this game or has even tried this trick before knows that it's pretty precise. The only possible way anyone could do it blindfolded with the movement used here would be if they weren't actually blindfolded at all, and were instead using a distinctly visual cue. The run only gets more and more suspicious from this point onward. Following a couple more extremely wonky and unnormalized setups in Cool Cool Mountain, we reach Bowser in the Dark World, the first Bowser stage. Here, only a true gamer such as this man will be able to somehow sidestep this Goomba, quickly make
how did you do that?
And then do this long jump to the next red, all completely blindfolded and with absolutely no setup necessary. Simply amazing.
I heard you, Goomba.
He then punches a Goomba that he claims he heard, even though there is no good way of gauging distance that precise with sound cues in SM64. It would have probably been both faster and safer to just keep walking forward anyway. Notice then the small adjustment he makes in order to be lined up with the final slope. Anyone who is actually blindfolded here would have almost certainly kept holding right with no adjustment. And yet this man somehow knew he was just a little too far down, despite having absolutely no real setup beforehand. If none of this was suspicious enough, then next we have the first Bowser throw.
That's
Looking
very
at legitimate
suspicious.
runs by Katoon and Bubzia, we can see that a setup is being used to slowly move Bowser into the bomb without even throwing him. For a faster strat, you can also toss him a little earlier with a slower spin, which provides a much larger frame window than normal to hit the throw. It should be noted that there is also a consistent way to throw Bowser full speed, using a combination of pause buffering and a sound cue. When Mario is spinning Bowser, a distinctive whoosh noise will play. This noise will always play whenever Bowser faces north, regardless of the camera angle or Bowser's orientation when grabbing him. Furthermore, the whoosh will make a slightly different sound depending on what frame you pause on.
Oh, I see.
This is the strategy that Napoleon
I couldn't hear it that well because I have
he's
in-game
able to
music going on,
consistently
but
pause buffer a B press to
I
throw
understand the
Bowser into
concept.
bomb. However, it seems like this runner couldn't be bothered to learn any of these strats. He instead opts to throw Bowser in the conventional way, while claiming to also be using a sound cue. Notice, however, that he also opts to turn his camera towards the bomb. As explained, turning the camera during spins does not affect the timing of any audio cues, and so it would be pointless to do this if the runner was truly blindfolded. It's pretty obvious here that he's just turning the camera so he can visually
Oh,
see
the Mario
where to
64
throw.
blind speedrun cheater.
Moving
Yeah.
on to basement, we see another
I didn't know about this person before.
In Shifting Sandland, he is somehow able to get the Talon Star using a strategy only viable for visual.
Oh, you're the
runs.
one who shared it. Thank you.
The amount of adjustment needed to long jump to the Fly Guy and twirl over to Klepto is simply too precise to be done consistently in a blindfolded run.
Let's see.
That doesn't stop this guy,
Cool.
though.
Okay.
He's able to
Everyone
do it
else
first
is
try with no
level
issues.
38, so we're gonna swap when
In
one of them
Hazy
hits
Maze Cave,
39.
however, he reverts back to setups that might pass as blindfolded to try to further sell the
You
idea
forgot you dropped
that
it in
he
chat?
cannot see. However, the
I actually
quote-unquote
beat
setups
Mario
he is
64
using
one
make
time.
absolutely
Nice.
no sense. On the emergency exit star, he seems to
It's been
have
a very
created
long
some
time
kind
since
of
I
fake
played
counting
it.
system involving
I have
more
beaten it, though.
abnormalized and inconsistent movements.
Okay. 1, 2.
Compare this again to Nobori's strat, which uses normalized movements along with the game's fixed camera option for even more consistent angles. Up to this point, the run has been extremely suspect at best. However, what happens in the second half absolutely destroys what little credibility it had in the first place. The last half of this run is so blatantly fake that it makes the previous 20 minutes look completely legit by comparison.
And... Yes!
Uh-oh.
Oh, come on, let's go.
We now come to Mip's clip, in my opinion one of the most impressive sections of Blindfolded 16-star. Successfully doing Mip's clip in a real blindfolded speedrun requires an extremely precise setup involving walking into a corner with the correct camera angle, and then repeatedly re-grabbing Mips to achieve the correct spacing on the door. This is one of the most difficult and precise sections in the entire run. In the castle basement, even the tiniest mistap to the left or right can mess up your camera entirely, breaking any setup you may have
Although
had.
I didn't beat the game with
This runner,
120
however,
stars,
throws all of
I
that
beat
out
the
the
game with only
window.
17 stars.
To clip through the basement
How's that
door, he
possible? Don't
basically
you
just
need
runs
like
straight
a
at it
certain
and
number of
ends up in the
stars
right
to
spot.
open certain
No
parts of the...
setup
Oh
needed.
wait, did you
Remember
cheese
that
it
there
so
are
that you can get to the last
absolutely zero
Bowser?
sound
Is that what
cues
you
here.
did?
There is absolutely no way he can know how close or far away he is from the door, because he is using literally no setup here. The exact same is true for his clip through the 30-star door. Once again, with absolutely no discernible audio cues and no real setup whatsoever, he somehow either knows
Speedrun
exactly where
stats?
he is
Yeah.
on the door, or just gets lucky enough to clip through it after
The
randomly
strats, I mean.
guessing. He spends around 30 seconds here walking back and forth along the door, and somehow is able to find the exact right spot to make it through. Somehow it still gets worse after this. At this point,
Oh,
he
my
pretty
nose.
much goes
Goodness
through the
gracious.
rest of the game without even thinking about what a real blindfolded run should look like. It really looks like he's just given up on trying to sell the illusion any further. He approaches the
LJ. Oh,
submarine
backwards
in
long
Dire
jump.
Dire
Yeah,
Docks
yeah.
from a seemingly random angle, and then tries to make it look like he knows where he is by jumping at it.
I slid off something.
Oh, like
Fuck,
you
do I have
don't know what
something?
it is?
Yes, okay.
The fact that
That's
he even
so
says this is
fake.
strange to me.
Oh, am I at
There
the
is literally
submarine?
nothing else in this
Nice.
level that you can slide off besides the sub, so it doesn't really make any sense to act as if he had to figure out what he was sliding on. He needed to make it look like he had some kind of cue to go off of, and then did the absolute bare minimum to try to make it convincing.
Yeah.
He then approaches the back of the sub as you would in a normal speedrun, but he ends up under the fin, causing the camera to go in an awkward direction. It should be painfully obvious how bad this looks. A real blindfolded runner would be completely disoriented in this situation, and
Yeah.
there is no consistent way you could realistically recover from this. Despite this, he is somehow able to loop
Yeah, it
back
really
around
could have
at a
been literally
perfect angle
anything.
and lands back on the fin, once again with absolutely zero sound cues or any
And I
setup.
believe that
Nothing suspicious
blindfolded
to see here.
speedrunners do whatever they can to avoid the
there's
water
Fire
levels,
Sea.
right? Oh my gosh. How... That's impossible to do blindfolded. Oh my gosh.
That was literally just muscle memory.
Uh-huh.
So after some more fake strats and Fire Sea, one fake Bowser throw setup, and some suspicious BLJ lineups, we finally come to what manages to be the worst part of the run by far. This
Okay.
run's Bowser in the Sky is pure gold. It contains such a large amount of glaring flaws and inconsistencies that it's insane that anyone could look at it and believe that the person playing could not actually see. He immediately starts the course with, again, completely unnormalized strats, moving through the course with small adjustments that have seemingly no explanation. He then commits what is possibly the most obvious and completely shameless move in the entire run.
Oh my gosh. You can't do that blindfolded. Seriously?
Fuck, I didn't get that extra life.
I was laughing my ass off when I first saw this. Not only does he somehow know exactly where the 1-up box is, but he also knows exactly what direction the 1-up will go in once it spawns.
Yeah.
Something completely determined by RNG. Then, after chasing it on a moving platform for a completely
That
arbitrary
right there?
amount of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
time, he somehow knows
The jump.
exactly when and where to jump to the left. You don't even need to know anything about Super Mario 64 or blindfolded speedrunning to understand that what just happened is completely bullshit.
Yeah.
Immediately after skipping the first one up, he messes around on the first rotating elevator, grabbing the next one up in the process.
That's not... No.
Yes. Okay.
No, no,
All
no.
clearly a calculated setup. After this, he once again makes an intentional mistake in order to make people think he's actually blindfolded.
I fell off. I can tell I fell off.
I can tell I
This
fell
is somehow
off.
the first and only time in this 40-minute run that he accidentally runs off of a platform. Except immediately after falling off, he somehow also knows to pull back to the right so he doesn't fall all the way down.
Yeah.
Only then does he comment that he knows he's fallen down, again with absolutely no discernible sound cues. Following this,
Like he could have
traverses the
streamed
wooden
learning
platforms
blind
and tries to
speedrunning
go
and it
for
would
yet
have been
another
way better.
one-up.
Yeah, yeah.
There should be a life on one of these.
He clearly saw this one up with his eyes, but then remembered he was supposed to be blindfolded. So he passes it off by acting like he knew there should be a one-up
Oh
there
my
and
gosh,
goes back
that's
to grab
so
it.
dumb.
Again, no setup whatsoever.
Ha, got it.
Watch now as he somehow knows exactly where he
Speedrunners
is
don't
on the
waste their
spinning platform
time
and knows
on
exactly where the
one-ups.
first pole is. Again, anyone who was
so
actually
dumb.
blindfolded here would have probably just kept holding left and run off.
Is there money involved
However,
in
this
doing
guy
this?
is able to make a completely random amount
It
of
can.
adjustments to make it onto the
Depends
pole.
on what you're doing.
He then makes his way to the next pole and grabs the red,
most
which he seems to be
of
using
the
as an audio
time,
cue.
no. In general, people just do it for
Okay,
fun.
I know what pole I'm at.
Then
There's like a,
immediately
you know,
after
there's also
jumping
like
off of the
like
pole that he knows he was
like
just
charities,
on,
like
he
games
attempts to
done
use
quick.
two bob-ombs
I
on
think
the
it's
next
that's the one.
platform to further
GDQ.
determine his
Games done
position.
quick. They do it for
Should be, like,
charity.
some bomb-bombs up? Yes, okay.
This is absolutely pointless, as he had already just verified where he was. All he had to do here was hold forward and he would have reached the next wall. At this point, he once again
Or infamy in
reiterates
this
the fact
case,
that
right,
this is
yeah.
only his third blindfolded run ever.
This is your second blindfolded run, isn't it?
Technically this is my third.
You could not
The
get this
first one I did
far
was, like,
on your
I don't know.
third blindfolded
I don't remember
speedrun.
how long it took
No
me.
way.
In the last 4 minutes alone, there have been countless points of extreme suspicion. From the moment he enters the stage to the moment he enters the final pipe, there is almost nothing that could be considered even remotely legitimate. However, the final Bowser throws that he does in the next 4 minutes are somehow even worse. He begins by grabbing Bowser using the normal visual method. Running around Bowser with a tight enough circle to grab him is something that heavily relies on visual cues to properly do. This is why in a real blindfolded run, a setup is used for the first two grabs that involves luring Bowser to a bomb from the edge of the platform. For the final throw, a separate normalized setup is used. And yet, after only one miss, this person is able to grab Bowser in the normal way, no problem. Note that after this first mistake, he does not miss a single tail grab for the rest of the fight. He then winds up for the first throw and misses. Once the throw is missed, Bowser will jump back onto the stage differently depending on where he fell off. There isn't a very good way to account for this, so the only real backup is to run off and try again from the beginning. But this guy doesn't do that. He instead goes for a re-grab and gets it, again with no setup and no sound cues. He hits the throw on his second try, again using the normal visual method of throwing. During his second throw, he stops and talks for about 30 seconds to explain how he first learned to speedrun
How often
blindfolded.
have you practiced outside of stream while blindfolded? A viewer is asking.
Actually not a lot. I feel like if I practiced more, I'd be a lot better at it. Most of this is just muscle memory and listening to the audio cues. But I've been speedrunning and playing Mario 64 for 3.5 years solid. So like
You're talking way too much for being able to do this blindfolded.
I would, like, because I knew before I did my first blindfolded run stream, I would test myself by just like looking at my other monitor, just looking at like away from the TV and doing the run.
He is once again constantly talking during a section that should take an extreme amount of focus to execute.
Yeah.
And yet he still figures out exactly when he needs to throw Bowser.
Oh fuck yeah.
After
Oh
messing
my
around for
gosh.
another minute, he then gets another re-grab, once again with no setup or any possible audio cues. During the final throw, he turns the camera not once, but twice to visually aim at two separate bombs. He then goes on yet another explanation about how he's able to do Bowser throws the way he's doing them.
So what I'm doing right now, the reason why it's taken me so long to throw him is because I'm trying to time it based on like where my thumb is on the controller, on the thumbstick.
That's so
because
dumb.
that's typically like a right around where Mario is, like the direction that he's gonna throw. So I need it to be like, if I think the bomb is where I think it is, if the bomb is where I think it is, and I'm looking at it, then
obviously none of this makes sense in the first place.
No.
But he is directly contradicting himself here. Here he says something vague about using where his thumb is on the stick to know where Bowser is, which already makes no sense on its own, except he also mentioned in his first Bowser throw that he was using sound cues.
Bowser is a little bit tricky. The sound cues on this is actually kind of hard. Okay.
You don't
this
say.
Whole time, he's just been giving fake technical explanations to try to convince his viewers that he actually knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Except he also misses this throw because he was too far away to ever hit the bomb in the first place, something he probably should have known whether he could actually see or not. Maybe he's only pretending to be blindfolded so he can hide the fact that he sucks at Bowser throws.
Fuck, okay.
Oh, he's a potty mouth.
He eventually does land the last throw, luckily avoiding all the fire on the ground and barely avoiding running off the edge.
You could
Nothing but
totally
pure
avoid
skill
those
and
by
game
being
sense.
blindfolded.
After the run is over, he is challenged multiple times by one of the only doubters in his chat. He is asked to verify that he can actually do blindfolded Bowser throws, but refuses to do even the simplest test to prove it.
So would you be opposed to doing Bowser in the sky and throws while turned around with a blanket over my head?
They even said they'll offer him $50.
If I do it turned around with a blanket over my head? No.
Despite the glaring flaws in this person's gameplay, he has somehow
because
been
of his
able to
gamer
convince
chair?
all but a few of his viewers that his blindfolded runs are legit. Messages in his Twitch and Facebook gaming chats show that most of the people watching him are completely convinced that what they're seeing is real. The best I can possibly assume in this situation is that he may actually be doing some of these parts at least partially blindfolded, only peeking through the blindfold whenever he's completely lost or doesn't know what to do. It's either that or the blindfold is just completely see-through, and his only goal during the run is to make it look like he can't actually
That's
see.
my assumption.
I almost thought this run
He's actually looking through the blindfold.
Like
it's like
completely serious.
it's like
I can only
see-through enough
speculate on this
so that he can
person's
see.
motives for faking these
Sorry.
runs, but my best guess is that
My
he's doing it for either the money or the views. It should be noted that during the run, the only way to communicate with him was to donate bits to play a text-to-speech message on stream. Considering the run is fake, this just seems like a scummy way for him to take money from people, but honestly, for only 1 bit per message, it doesn't really seem that bad. If the amount was any higher, I would probably have a much bigger problem with it, but whatever small amount of money he did collect is probably the least of our worries here. There hasn't been a notable cheating incident in the Mario 64 community for a few years now, so I guess we were about due for another one.
We were
By faking
due.
this run, this person has not only made a complete mockery of blindfolded speedrunning, but has also detracted from the hard work of people who have actually put in the insane amount of time needed to do this for real. This particular run ended with a 42-minute time, however he claims to have completed a faster time of 33:23, a time which would be considered second place on the current leaderboards. When asked if he will submit the time, however, he claimed that he wants to take first place before he makes any submissions. I trust, however, that the mods of the category are smart enough to see that any run he submits will be clearly invalid.
Yeah.
Though I wouldn't be surprised if he never even submits a run, because he probably knows that it would never get verified anyway. If you happen to see this guy on Twitch or anywhere else, please just don't interact with him. I've intentionally left his name out of this video, 1 because I don't wish for anyone to harass him over this, and 2 because I don't believe that any cheater deserves attention past simply being exposed.
Oh, okay. That's very fair. Very fair.
I want to give a big shout out to both Katoon and Bubzia for their incredible help on this video. They helped to clarify a lot of questions I had about blindfolded Mario 64, and this video would not have been as comprehensive without their inputs. Also thanks to both them and Nobori for allowing me to use their footage for comparisons. I've left links to all of their streams and YouTube channels in the
Nobori
description.
before.
Please check
No,
all
I
three of
haven't,
them
never
out
mind.
if you want to see some legitimate blindfolded runs of Mario 64, as well as many other games. These people have genuinely put in the insane amount of time and focus needed to successfully complete these runs for real. They're the ones who truly deserve it. If you please, you can also subscribe to this channel and check me out over on Twitch. My runs aren't quite as cool as these guys yet, but we'll still have some fun.
Oh, that's him.
Holy
Oh, potty mouth.
18.6, dude! Bro, let's fucking go! Dude, holy shit!
Oh, what's more?
I think I could do some Bowser throws with a pillow over my face. I mean, but like... I would be keeping the pillow on my face.
Oh my goodness. That was interesting. Now we know to stay away from him, yeah? Alright, let me get the next one up. Dice training.
Brought to you by paid advertisement.
Oh.
Brought to you by paid advertisement for Tailspire. Welcome to Dice 101, Lesson 2, Dice Training. Some dice, especially fresh dice, are going to need a little training before they're really going to perform for you fully. So it's pretty simple to do that. You just train them to sit pretty. First, all you got to do is take the dice you want to train and set them up. Make sure they're all in a row with their highest face up. And then you just watch them super intensely. Some people say that it's a good idea to take a trader die or something and just like destroy it, like have like a public execution in front of the other dice. But I find that fear is only a short-term solution, and it really just plants the seeds of more drastic descent down the line. So it's best to just simply set them down and watch them. If you don't have time, you can just use a camera and time-lapse the footage later. They know they're being watched. But whatever you do,
too bad the main guy who makes these kind of videos messed up about big time recently. Oh no, that's unfortunate.
They are, because otherwise it can set a bad example and really ruin an entire batch. Anyway, so I'm going to set up this camera overnight. We'll check out the footage in the morning, and then we'll come back in and re-roll these dice and see if they've improved at all. So, this is tomorrow morning. This is a live feed for my little GoPro. This is my wife, Aletia.
Hi.
And this is our morning coffee. All right, let's take a look. What?
I know you just got here, but I'm gonna head out in a few minutes. No worries.
Oh, I think I know what that smudge
Everyone's
is.
Everyone
God
is very
damn it,
free
Larry, touch
to
my
come
duck.
and go as they please.
What's the big deal?
I'm gonna kill him.
He's your best friend.
He was my best friend.
I love you.
I love you too. Bye. Bye.
Okay, let me get this for Zangetsu. Oops.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Probably.
I need to fucking die. What's the big deal, man? I rolled them. I rolled all my dice out, and they're all fucked. They're all rolling like below 10 for the most.
Oh,
There was
okay.
120, but I mean, that's an anomaly, man, and you know it. Like an anomaly that would happen maybe, let's see, about 5% of the time. You're dumb as hell, man, and you're making other people dumb.
Can we try to stay like a little bit away from like the cursing if possible?
Too. You're making like bad players into worse players. And honestly, like it's just a gateway until they're fucking microwaving their dice. Just say you're sorry, man, and then we're good. Oh, sorry that I messed with your fucking fraudulent show.
Okay.
You teach dumb people.
We're gonna stop with this one. Let's ignore them then. Okay. In that case, let me find a movie on YouTube that we can all watch together. Let me actually. Do you want to make sure the other? Okay, thank you. Yeah, it would be very, very helpful if you guys could screen them first. Or if you know already, then that's great. But if you don't already, if you could screen them, that would save me a lot of time. Okay, let me... So, supposedly the SpongeBob movie is free currently on YouTube. SpongeBob movie. SpongeBob SquarePants movie. It is not. It's not free. It says. Yeah, it says buy or rent. Oh, sorry, this one. I'm looking at the wrong one. I was looking at the first movie. It's the second movie. Sponge Out of Water. Wait, why isn't it telling me? Oh, no, yeah, it's telling... Yeah, this isn't free for me either. Free with ads? Let me try. It's only giving me like a preview. Yeah, it's telling me buy or rent. Let me go to, there should be a section on YouTube that has all the free movies. Where are they? Let's see. Let me go back actually. YouTube movies and TV, I think that's the channel. Oops, what the heck? Free with ads. Here we go. Free with ads. Prime time movies for you. Let's see what we have here. A Writer's Odyssey, Fast and Furious 5, a B movie, B movie, The Five Wave, King Arthur, The Ant Bully, Sucker Punch, Fairy Tale After All. What's that? Oh, Jurassic Park. 4 Kids and It, Alienoid, Lost World, Jurassic Park, Lost World, Legend of the Naga Pearls, Master and Commander, Dark Shadows, The Internship, Longest Yard, Shadow Master, Babylon AD. Let's see. Last Night's A-Team, Season of the Witch, Cosmo Ball, Boruto, the Naruto the movie. Let's do B movie? We might. Detective D, The Four Heavenly King, Terminator Salvation, Dumber and Dumber 2, The Last Naruto the movie, Mr. Peabody and Sherman, Selfless, Arthur 3, where's 1 and 2? School of Rock, Gremlins, She's the Man, Mean Girls, Arthur and the Minimoys, what the heck? The Peanuts movie, Tyler Perry's Acrimony, Max, Selena, The Help, Arthur, and the Revenge of Maltazar. What is this? Arthur. The Ambush, Rebound, Wonder, Medea's Witness. Okay, I'm just gonna keep looking. So potentially B movie. Scorpion King? Oh yeah, that was the standalone. Oh, that was the sequel, wasn't it? The second Scorpion King movie. I think. All Dogs Go to Heaven? Oh my gosh. That's such a good classic animated non-Disney movie, but I can't watch it because it'll like I will become a mess. I will become a mess. Open season 3. If there was a 1, we could watch it. Scorpion King was a spin-off from The Mummy. Yeah. Osmosis Jones. Rambo 3. The Care Bears movie. There's a lot more that I'm done. I stopped reading everything. Legally Blonde 2. Konnichiwa. I have to get going in a few. No worries. Take off whenever you need to. Oh, Land Before Time. The first one. Robin Hood Bennett. What is this? Reef 2 High Tide? What's Reef? Oh, Addams Family Values. If the first Addams Family was on here, we would totally watch that. Easterland. Cinderella and the Secret Prince. This looks like Oh, Neza. I was told to watch this actually. Neza or Neja, original Chinese version. Neja, I've heard it's really good actually. Before I want to say one thing, you look very pretty and beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's watch the Neja. I'll type the name in chat. So everyone go find it on YouTube. This is the video title. I'll have it on screen but muted. Bye, take care. I'll give you guys a moment to pull it up. Wait, did I? Yeah, I did. Oh, oops, I should have done Jive. Okay, it's Kalka's turn. Wow. Did I equip the... I think I equipped it on Zangetsu. I'll check after this. Gonna have to dip early too, being asked for modules. Okay, no worries. Good luck. Ooh, divine heal. Oh, mom and son. Okay, did I equip it on him? I did, okay. I did. Alright. We'll do one more one more battle. Oh, one more fight. And then I'll start the movie. Oopsies. Didn't mean to go to the ship. I'm hoping it has subtitles. I assume since it's on here. Button stuck? Okay. Oh shoot, Zangetsu needs some healing. Oh. No, jive. Konbanwa. Genki desu ka? Genki desu. Genki desu ka? Nice. Okay, let's swap them out. I'll swap them out and then start the movie. Okay. What are we watching? Okay, Genki desu. Yeah, I'm glad to hear it. We are watching. I'll drop the name in the chat again. We're watching Neja. It's a Chinese movie that's currently free on YouTube. So if you'd like to watch along, please feel free to pull it up. I will not be playing the audio, just the video. Oops. Yeah, no, this is correct. Okay. Alright, let me swap party members. We're gonna swap Zangetsu with Cecil. And Harley with Rydia. And the nice thing with Rydia is that she has the stop spell. Give him the chakra band and level band. And the same thing for Rydia. Chakra band, level band. There we go. How much money do I have right now? Okay, let me see. I'll stop by the hologram labyrinth. See if they have anything useful for these party members. I will get the power staff for... It would be good for Rosa, but I want her to keep using a bow so she can actually do normal attacks. Blitz Whip, Obelisk. No, I'm not gonna use a lance on Theodore. Demon Slayer. I want to get him to Defender, but that's really expensive. I'll wait till I have more money to buy him that. All right, let me get out of here and then save. Actually. All right, we are going to start the movie in 3, 2, 1. I should probably turn off the in-game music. I'll do that next time. I'll do that when I get out of this fight. Actually, no, I'll pause the movie. I'll pause the movie. I'll turn off so I can turn off the in-game music. Does she know Firaga? No, just Fira. Nice. Oh, it's poison. Oh shit, no, shit, I meant to do a fire spell. Oh, well, that helps. Nice. Okay, let me completely turn off the music in the settings. Off. There we go. Alright, let me resume the movie. Whoa. Oh, shoot. There's a lot of intro. Uh-oh. Wait, no, I was expecting the original Chinese with subtitles. Hold on. Okay, wait, let me deal with this. Let me deal with this fight first. Oh my gosh. Wait, hold on. This is not... Hold on. Whew, okay. Oh shoot, I gotta put that to sleep as well. Oh boy. Only that much? Okay. All right. I'm so sorry. I'm pausing the movie. I did not know that the let's see, audio track. Okay, there is Chinese. Okay, I'm changing to Chinese and then putting English subtitles. Okay. Sorry. I'm going to go back to the beginning of the movie. What does that say? Oh, a fictional thingy. Wait. Oh, gosh. Okay. I'm so sorry. I think I can only see a black screen. Oh. Interesting. I mean, was it not working before? Wait, let me see. Oh. Was that oh. Can we refer? You know what? I don't think this is gonna work. I'm so sorry. I didn't think this through apparently. We're gonna have to pick a different movie because I can't read the subtitles while fighting these difficult monsters. So we're gonna find a different movie. Or I guess we could just do what we have been doing and play videos. I think that might be better at this point. Because I think and if we do a movie, it'll end up being too long. So I will just go find a different video. Let's do more videos. We'll do more videos. Let's see. My first time playing Dungeons and Dragons. Jaden Animations. Where have I seen it before? $20,000 calorie. Oh no, that's more like. Wait, no, that must be 20,000 calorie burger challenge. Las Vegas heart attack grill, octuple bypass burger. Oh, it's that girl that we were watching yesterday that was eating doing the mukbang. She was eating all those bowls of food. It was so good looking. Need to refresh. Sometimes YouTube doesn't load correctly for me. Yeah, 20,000 calories. That's how many burger patties there were. Six Asians try each other's noodles for the first time. Oh, I've seen that before. That was interesting. "12 chefs make an omelet. Michelin star, French airline, and more." What? Is MSG the still king of flavor? Why doesn't Yoshi sound like he used to? Wait, what? What does that mean? This sounds potentially interesting.
If I asked you to do an impression of Yoshi right now, it would probably sound something like this. That is Yoshi's iconic voice, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But in the 1990s, he had an entirely different voice. And that's not all. This is Yoshi.
Oh, creepity spookity scary. Yoshi hope no ghosts in Shining Forest.
And so is this.
Yo! Welcome back, Mario! We racked up tons of frequent globulator miles looking for you.
Yoshi has actually had a lot more voices than you might have realized over the last 30 years. But why is that? And where did his current voice come from? let's answer the question, why doesn't Yoshi sound like he used to? Part 1. 2 notes. For many years, Mario creator Shigeru Miyamoto had wanted to include some kind of animal for Mario to ride. He had a sketch of Mario riding the back of a dinosaur-like creature stuck on the wall in front of his desk for years and years. However, because of technical limitations, Miyamoto couldn't bring this idea to life in Super Mario Bros. 1, 2, or 3. The NES just wasn't powerful enough. But then, in 1991, Nintendo brought out a new, more powerful games console, the SNES. And finally, Miyamoto's idea could be brought to life in the form of Yoshi, the green, dinosaur-like creature that Mario rides the back of in Super Mario World. Now, Yoshi was a really important part of Super Mario World. He was right on the front of the game's box, after all. And it was up to Super Mario World's composer, Koji Kondo, to figure out what this new Yoshi creature should sound like. Now, on the original NES, all music and sound effects had to be created using simple waveforms. That's what gives old Nintendo music its distinctive 8-bit sound. However, you could play very short audio samples. They just used up so much cartridge space and sounded so low quality that they weren't used very much.
Right.
On this new SNES console though, audio samples were everything. Instead of composers using those built-in 8-bit sound waves, composers on the SNES had to import their own audio samples to be used as instruments. So, for instance, with Super Mario World, Koji Kondo imported this short recording of a piano note. And that meant he could use piano sounds throughout the game's music. Of course, Super Mario World has many, many different instrument samples, but one extremely important one is this orchestra hit. This orchestra hit is what Koji Kondo used to create Yoshi's distinctive sound effect. Kondo first played 2 notes using the orchestra hit sound, and then he bent their pitches. The first note was pitch bent upwards, the second downwards. And here's how the final result sounds. Now, for a number of years, those 2 orchestra hit notes were used as the voice of Yoshi. Like in Mario Kart 64, when characters like Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad were speaking full phrases,
Let's go!
Yoshi instead sounded like this. And that works fine in a video game. If you need to convey more detailed information, just write it using text on screen. But Super Mario World was a huge hit when it came out in 1990. So huge of a hit, in fact, that it was adapted into anime, other games, and cartoons, which caused a problem. How do you turn Yoshi into a cartoon if he sounds like this? Part 2. The cartoons. It took a year for Super Mario World to be released in America, and when that happened, DIC Entertainment began producing a Super Mario World cartoon. Interestingly though, despite the cartoon being targeted towards the US, the voice actors hired were almost all from Canada, and that includes the voice of Yoshi, Andrew Sabiston. Sabiston gave Yoshi a high-pitched, cutesy-sounding voice. Take a listen.
Oh, creepity, spookity, scary. Yoshi hope no ghosts in Shattered Forest. Ooga! Yoshi boogie! Now Yoshi more afraid than ever. Yoshi wish he wasn't alone.
Now, that same year, 1991, an interactive anime adaptation of Super Mario World was released on VHS. However, in this anime version, there are 3 different Yoshis. And unlike in the American cartoon, all 3 Yoshis are voiced by women. The main Yoshi is voiced by Chika Sakamoto and sounds like this.
Oh.
Then there's Yellow Yoshi, voiced by Tamao Hayashi, who sounds like this. And lastly, there's Red Yoshi, who is voiced by Ikue Otani, the voice of Pikachu. Here's how Red Yoshi sounds. Right, so the
my
next Yoshi
goodness,
voice
that's so
came
cool.
the following year, 1992. But it wasn't in a cartoon this time. It was actually in a Japanese commercial for the puzzle game Yoshi's Cookie. Yoshi only had one line to say, but he was voiced by famous Japanese voice actress Junko Hori, who also voiced Jerry from Tom and Jerry and Bart Simpson from The Simpsons. Check out her take on Yoshi. Then, 1 year later, in 1993, the live-action Super Mario Bros. Film was released in America. Now, it did feature Yoshi, but he looks pretty different here. Dare I say, horrific. And his vocal cry sounds were performed by American voice actor Frank Welker, best known as the voice of Fred and Scooby-Doo from Scooby-Doo. He doesn't really speak here, but here's what the animalistic noises of Yoshi sound like. And then, finally, in 1994, the infamous game Mario is Missing was released for Mac. And Yoshi speaks in the game. Kind of. He makes this bizarre blow sound when he swallows enemies.
Blow. 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 Blow.
Now, there was another voice clip recorded for Yoshi. A full line of dialogue.
Yo! Welcome back, Mario! We racked up tons of frequent globulator miles looking for you.
However, strangely, this final audio clip was removed from the game before it was released. The voice actor behind these short snippets of Yoshi's voice is not 100% known, as the game's credits don't actually specify which voice actor voiced which character. The most likely candidate is a programmer called Bruce Sandig. Whether he really did voice the character is impossible to know, though. So, as you can see, from 1991 to 1994, there were quite a few varied voices of Yoshi, but none of them really counted as official. As far as I can tell, Nintendo had little to no input on any of the casting decisions made in these projects, except perhaps for Junko Hori in the advert. But back at Nintendo, Yoshi's official new voice was being worked on. And it is the voice that he still uses to this very day. Part 3, back at Nintendo. So, as I mentioned, Yoshi's original sound effect was reused in pretty much every game he appeared in, up until the year 1997, that is. After the success of Yoshi's Island on the SNES, Nintendo began work on a sequel called Yoshi's Story for the N64. And this time, Koji Kondo was not the composer. Instead, Kazumi Totaka took over. You might know Kazumi Totaka for his work on the Animal Crossing series. He's the guy KK Slider was based on. Plus, he wrote the famous Mii Maker theme. But in 1997, Kazumi Totaka's task was to compose the music for Yoshi's Story. Meanwhile, the game's two sound designers, Yasushi Ida and Hajime Wakai, were deciding what to do about Yoshi's voice. Up until then, he'd only really had that one single sound. But the two sound designers decided to finally change that. They wanted to give Yoshi a new voice. Now, normally in this situation, a professional voice actor would be hired. But instead, composer Kazumi Totaka was roped into voicing the character. Or perhaps he asked to voice the character himself. The details aren't super clear. But however it ended up happening, composer Kazumi Totaka entered a recording studio at Nintendo around 1997 and made all kinds of noises that he thought were Yoshi-like into the microphone. Here's how some of those recordings sounded.
Oh!
Yeah. Yay! Whoa! Wow!
Whoa!
Yoshi! Yoshi!
Now, obviously, those voice clips sound like an adult man, not a cute green dinosaur.
Yeah.
So the next step was to speed up those recordings, Alvin and the Chipmunks style. And here's the finished result, the voice of Yoshi. So, Yoshi's story was released in 1997, and for a few years afterwards, the voice of Yoshi wasn't super consistent. Some games immediately began using the voice clips recorded by Kazumi Totaka, like Super Smash Bros. In 1999, and Mario Tennis in the year 2000. However, other games kept using Koji Kondo's old sound effect, like Mario Golf in 1999, and Mario Party 2 and 3 in 2000 and 2001. But by 2002, Nintendo's games had completely phased out the old voice of Yoshi in favor of Kazumi Totaka's new voice. But back in 1997, Totaka only recorded the sounds that Yoshi's story would need, 60 of them in total, which sounds like a lot, but since then, Yoshi has appeared in all kinds of Nintendo games.
Yeah.
So, about 4 years later, while Super Mario Sunshine was in development, Totaka recorded a whole new batch of Yoshi sounds. But that wasn't the last time he did it. About 10 years after that, Super Mario Galaxy 2's director personally asked Totaka to record some new voice lines. According to the director, when I asked him to do it, he was a little uneasy. 10 years have passed, so he was worried it would sound as if Yoshi had aged. But impressively enough, Yoshi doesn't sound any different, I don't think, to how he sounded back in 1997. Here's how Yoshi sounds in Super Mario Galaxy 2.
They're pretty much the same.
So perhaps one day Totaka will be dragged back to the recording studio to record another set of Yoshi sounds. But for now, Nintendo seems happy to keep reusing the 3 collections of Yoshi noises they've got. Over the years, Kazumi Totaka has actually voiced quite a few Nintendo characters. Shy Guy, Professor Egad, Captain Olimar, and even Birdo. But the first character he ever voiced is also his most important and iconic, Yoshi. It was 25 years ago that Totaka first recorded Yoshi's voice, and it has become iconic.
Yeah.
I kind of love that alongside writing music for Animal Crossing, Luigi's Mansion, and Wii Sports, every now and again, Totaka gets dragged back into the recording studio to record a couple of new voice lines.
I like that too.
Hi,
that's really
thanks
funny.
For watching. I've always loved Yoshi's voice, so it was interesting to dig into where it came from. Hopefully you also found it interesting. Alright, I'll see you next week then. Bye!
Bye! Thank you. Oh, this was a video from 3 years ago. That's interesting. But now that we've heard the original, I don't think we can ever. I don't think I can ever listen to Yoshi ever the same ever again. Now every time I hear him, I'm just gonna think of what was his name? Kondo. I'm gonna think of him now, from now on. It's okay though. Okay, let's see. What else can we watch? I keep getting stuff about Wicked as well, because I've watched a couple videos about Wicked. Let's see. No more saving throws, please. Oh. I spent 30 days in a dead game. 0 players online. Why would I'm surprised the game would even be running if there aren't any players. Huh. I'm not familiar with this channel. Sounds like it might be interesting though.
This.
Okay.
This is there.com, a once popular virtual world
What?
that's been dead for over a decade. But despite it having practically zero players, somehow the game is actually still up and running. And for the low price of $9.99, I'm now a premium member for a month. So for the next 30 days, I'm gonna try to bring this game back to life.
There.com? I've never heard of this.
I have to find out if anyone is even still here. Starting now, this game is literally gonna be my life for the next month, so hopefully I'm not alone. My new identity for the next 30 days, Globotron. It's Globotron. As I was entering the world of there.com, I already had a plan. Okay, so I've already got a couple ideas for how I'm gonna find other players, because if you can't already tell, this game, well, it's pretty empty, and I can't just walk around aimlessly hoping to find someone.
Wait,
So
I gotta see. Wait,
featured landmarks.
I'm gonna Google this really quick. Is this really a game? There.com? Hold on, I gotta Google this. There.com game. What? Okay, let me look at the Wikipedia. Well, it's just called There. The website is there.com, but the game is called There. What is this? It came out originally in 2003, and then a new version came out in 2012. There is a 3D online virtual world created by Will Harvey and Jeffrey Ventrella. There Inc. was founded in the spring of 1998. Closed beta began in July 2001 with various stages of beta following and ending with an October 2003 launch date. On March 3rd, 2010, 1 week after the announcement of its closure on March 2nd, 2010, There.com shut its doors to the public. On May 11th, 2011, Michael Wilson announced on the There.com homepage that the platform would be reopening and that all previous members would retain access to their original avatars. There officially reopened to the public on May 2nd, 2012, operating under a monthly subscription model of $10 per month, while 2 tiers of trial accounts are available, albeit with limited functions. Huh. Interesting. So it sounds like less of a game and more of just like a 3D social platform. So I feel like calling it a game might be a little bit disingenuous. Corporate history, details. There is a venue for socializing with less role-playing than it is typically found in MMORPGs. Marketed on its homepage as an online getaway where you can hang out with your friends and meet new ones. There defines itself as a service providing a shared experience that allows people to interact in an online society. Yeah, this sounds like less of a... This doesn't sound like a game. This is like a social platform thing. Yeah, it's dead for it is dead. Oh, it's not a game though. I think calling it a game is like not accurate. And they're trying to call it a game and to like make it sound more appealing. Let's see. Every mythical inaccuracy in Disney's Hercules. I mean, yeah, it's Disney isn't known for being like 100% accurate with their movies. It doesn't mean they're bad movies, right? But you know. Let's see. I installed 10,000 virus. What? No. 20 things developers didn't think anyone would try? Huh? Fulgur explains the reason why he is graduating. Oh yeah. Fulgur from Niji Sanji recently announced that he's graduating. Let's see what else is there. Eating everything at Super Nintendo World. I would watch that, but that would make me very sad that I can't go. I want to go to Super Nintendo World. I'm assuming the one in Japan. Let's see. The biggest cheater in Guitar Hero history was finally caught. Ah. It's giving me that because we watched the fake blindfold run guy. I turned modern SpongeBob into season 1. Oh. Oh, this looks interesting. Okay, wait.
SpongeBob is one of the best shows ever, and it's been on the air for over 25 years. But in that time, it's changed a lot. From the way it looks to the style of the comedy.
It's a giraffe!
So, as an animator, I came up with an idea. What if I were to reimagine the most recent episode of SpongeBob as if it were from season 1? How close?
That sounds like a really awesome idea. Do you like true crime / murder prawn? I don't like the second thing. Well, like true. I do enjoy like it, like the videos where they talk about like what like crime mysteries or like the psychology of criminals. If that's what you mean. Those are fascinating.
Could I actually get to capturing that classic SpongeBob feel? Let's give it a try. But first, what the fuck actually is the most recent episode of SpongeBob? Because I don't know about you, but I actually haven't watched SpongeBob in a while, so why don't we go see what they've been up to? Alright, I have here the most recent episode of SpongeBob Necro Nom Nom Nomicon.
I just love breakfast.
Oh my god. It's very over the top right away. Mr. Krabs just got his ass kicked. You can tell it's digital now, and they animate the characters way more crazy. They're like always exaggerating their movements and facial expressions.
Looks right to me.
The characters feel more over the top, especially these background kind of characters who would kind of be more blank slates in the original show. They're more weird, and that's kind of the joke more often. To give a quick summary of the episode, Mr. Krabs wants to serve breakfast at the Krusty Krab, so SpongeBob accidentally confuses a Necronomicon for a cookbook and creates evil breakfast items that cause magical shenanigans to the customers of the Krusty Krab. And as I'm watching this episode, I'm trying to see if there's one scene I can reimagine as if it's from season 1. I don't have the time or resources to animate an entire episode, so I'm just gonna pick one scene that I think I could remake in the season 1 style.
Stacks of woe. That must mean pancakes. Mr. Krabs, do we have any zombie teeth? Dragon's breath? Eye of newt?
Well, there should be some in the back of the freezer.
Okay, that was kind of a scene that I feel like could work in classic SpongeBob. Mr. Krabs just for some reason has all these magical ingredients. The way it's executed here seems a little different than season 1, but maybe this is the scene that I could actually work with to reimagine as a season 1 scene. So I got to writing, and I'm trying to incorporate.
Sorry, murder prawn is just true crime, but that's the name South Park used to make fun of it. Oh, I see. Yeah, I find true crime pretty interesting. I also have not seen any recent SpongeBob. Only because it's because I don't have I haven't had Nickelodeon for a long time. And it's no secret really that like the more recent SpongeBob episodes are not as good as like the older seasons, right? So I feel like I'm not really missing out on a whole lot. Like, there's actually some episodes that made me feel like, well, there's one episode in particular that actually made me feel very uncomfortable. Like, it was getting, like, it's, as time has gone on, they've got, like this animator was describing, like it's very over the top and exaggerated, which is fine. But, like, they've added, like the grossness, like, grotesqueness to it, which is also fine in itself, but it doesn't really work with SpongeBob, right? And, like, the execution is not very good. There's, like, one particular episode that made me that was, like, disgustingly uncomfortable. Like, it was I can't remember which episode exactly it was, but there was a scene where I think SpongeBob gets, like, accidentally puts, like, the leg of a sofa on top of Squidward's foot, like it, like, smashes his foot and it hurts, right? And, like, they gave him, like, a toenail. Squidward's foot, like it, like, smashes his foot and it hurts, right? And, like, they gave him, like, a toenail, and he's never had a toenail before because he's a squid, right? And, like, it's like the leg of the it, like, I wish I could burn that episode. Yeah, like, it injures his and, like, rips off his toenail from his foot, actually. That already, you know, that was the grossest part. And then, like, later, he even, like, slips and falls because he steps on the toenail that got ripped off of his foot. It was so gross. I don't understand I don't know who thought that was a good idea. Anyway.
Those classic character dynamics from the first season. I had some friends helping me write, and eventually we got a minute of dialogue that I thought really could work well as a season 1 SpongeBob scene. Okay, I need to confess something. The concept of this video is far from original. There's actually been a somewhat recent trend of online artists illustrating what modern cartoons would look like in older art styles. And the absolute master of this is Yin Yang Geo from Twitter, who's just an incredible artist. Here you can see him drawing modern Simpsons as if it was an older episode, modern SpongeBob as if it was an older episode, and he even does the other way around.
It doesn't work! You gotta run!
As if it was modern, Fairly Odd Parents, Smiling Friends as if it was from the 90s. His work is so good that it blows me away. Now, I'm a pretty decent artist, so I could probably get kinda close to the look of classic SpongeBob on my own.
This is the strong one.
But I really want this thing to be as good as it can possibly be, and so I decided to reach out to the master himself, Yin Yang Geo, to commission some artwork for the animation. I explained the idea to him, sent him some rough reference photos of what I had in mind, and he took it all in. He cooked a nice souffle, and sure enough, he knocked it out of the park. These illustrations are perfect. They look exactly like classic SpongeBob, and these are going to be a huge help for the actual animation. I'm using these sort of as a going off point. It looks so accurate. That's amazing. And I'm going to straight up use the backgrounds he painted digitally, which looks so spot on. I can't recommend this guy enough. If you have any projects you can help with, or even if you just want to commission some awesome art for fun, he's Yin Yang Geo 14 on Twitter. His prices are also incredibly cheap for the work he does. Really amazing artist. Go check out his Twitter. We're gonna get to the actual animation soon, but first we just gotta record the voices. Now, I could use AI, but fuck no. So I scoured the internet looking for the perfect voice actors to play SpongeBob, Squidward, and Mr. Krabs, the 3 characters who will be in my scene. Now, I don't know about you, but I've never heard a good SpongeBob impression in my life.
I'm ugly and I'm proud! I'm ugly and I'm proud!
Hello, everyone. It's SpongeBob. Mr. Krabs, what's a good place I can take Sandy out on a date? Besides the Krabby Patty, because, you know, I work here for a long time, you know.
Hey, Patrick!
You mean the Krusty Krab?
SpongeBob SquarePants. Who's under the pineapple over the sea? SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah. For some reason, the voice of SpongeBob, performed by Tom Kenny, might be the hardest character voice to impersonate.
Yeah.
And most impressions sound nothing like him. That is, except for one.
Oh?
Good morning, USA. I've got a feeling that it's gonna be a wonderful day.
Double Time
That's not
32 does a pretty damn good SpongeBob. He actually played SpongeBob in the SpongeBob movie Rehydrated and a bunch of other fan projects. He's basically the internet's go-to SpongeBob. So I reached out to him with the art by Yin Yang Geo, and he was so down to be part of the project. He's also friends with a whole bunch of voice impressionists who do the other SpongeBob characters, and they have a YouTube channel where they play video games together in character.
Oh, that's
called
funny.
Street Gaming. So Double Time got me in touch with his friends, the Gons Fam and Veggie Boy, to voice Squidward and Mr. Krabs, respectively, in the animation. All of their voices are so spot on to the characters, and I was thrilled to have them on board. And now comes...
A Little House could be pretty good, yeah.
The animation. Now, Season 1 of SpongeBob wasn't made on computers. It was made using the old traditional process known as cell animation, where animators first animate drawings on paper, like a flip book, then trace over those drawings with ink and paint on celluloid sheets to create the final product. And I actually collect animation cells. As you can see here, I have 2 original cells from SpongeBob Season 1. These are the actual originals. These ones are quite beautiful, as you can see. So yes, the animators would actually hand paint every frame on celluloid sheets and place them on top of a painted background like this. This actually isn't an original background. Those are really expensive. And they would take a picture of every single frame. All those paintings put together, played back, it creates the illusion of movement known as animation. Now, cell animation inherently looks pretty different from digital animation, where artists move pixels around on a screen to create their drawings, usually on a drawing tablet of some kind. Digital is way cheaper and easier than cell animation, which is why it's taken over entirely. But I want to clarify, the artist is still drawing these characters frame by frame for many shows, including modern SpongeBob, and this might surprise even animation fans. I was surprised when I first found this out, but a lot of shows, even today, like Steven Universe and yes, modern SpongeBob, are still animated and inked on paper. They just clean up and color each frame digitally. There's really not a lot of information about the overseas studios that do these shows, but as far as I can tell, a lot more shows than you think are still animated on paper, and that's kind of crazy. But as far as using actual animation cells, the practice has been dead for like over 20 years. And the thing is, cell animation has a certain look to it, a certain analog charm that's hard to replicate digitally. That's part of why what Yin Yang Geo does is so impressive. His digital illustrations really capture that cell animated look. But in terms of actual animation, I'm not sure I've ever seen a digital animation really pull off the cell animated look. I'm not saying it can't be done, but the ones I've seen that try and replicate cell animation digitally never quite look real.
Yeah.
But I want this animation to look exactly like Season 1. And since I don't mind torturing myself a little bit, I'm gonna try to do it with actual cell animation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But before actually getting involved with any ink and paint, I'm gonna animate it digitally first as a sort of blueprint. These will kind of be my pencil drawings before printing out every frame and inking them physically. And I'm doing this because I'm much better at digital art than traditional. I do rely on that undo button a bit, and it's gonna be much faster for me to animate it this way rather than actually starting all on paper. But I'm still drawing the characters frame by frame and trying my best to study the actual animation from Season 1 of SpongeBob, seeing where they use holds, when do they just have the mouth moving on a separate cell, how many frames a blink should be. I'm looking for little subtleties that I think will make it feel just that much more like a classic SpongeBob episode.
Much later.
So this is the finalized line work right here, and now it's time to print out all these frames and start making the actual cells. Even though cell animation has been dead for decades, some animation nerds like me have attempted to do it in modern day just for fun. And there's actually a handful of good resources online for anyone who wants to try it. Swift from Doig and Swift wrote a really helpful post about how to make
let me take care of that in the chat. Okay.
Make an animation cell, including what kind of ink and paint works best, what tools to use, and different techniques to get the best result. I leaned heavily on her post, so huge shout out to her. Now when it comes to the cells themselves, you can still buy blank animation cells online, but they're way expensive, so I try to get away with just using some transparency film sheets. Now I started with some tests, and as you can kind of see, I was struggling to get smooth line work on the cells. I honestly don't have a lot of experience using dip pens like this. I was just very shaky and kind of bad at making lines, so I practiced a bunch on some scrap paper until I felt a little more comfortable and a little more confident to make some big bold lines on the cells. But I realized also that any mistakes or imperfections could be photoshopped out of the frames digitally. It'll be more work for later, but oh well. The colored line work, known as color holds, were done by mixing white ink with a little bit of acrylic paint. If I added too much paint, it wouldn't really come out of the pen, so some of the colors had to be a little lighter than I wanted, but that's something again I can fix in post with a little bit of Photoshop. And once those dried, it's time for the paint. To add paint to an animation cell, you want to flip it over to the back side and paint on the color. Kind of pull it up so it's nice and solid and fills in all the lines. You make me cry more than if my balls got dipped in fiery sauce.
Oh.
I don't know what I was yapping about there. I was on a call. Let the cell dry, and then you have your finished animation cell. I got a lot of work ahead of me, so let's get started.
Oh, this tune is familiar.
The whole process of inking and painting the cells took forever. There were 138 cells in total, and most of them came out kind of horrible. Most of them actually had mistakes and shaky lines and a whole bunch of stuff I'm gonna have to clean up digitally if I want to look like a real SpongeBob episode. After hours and hours and days of my life wasted, the cells were finally finished. And it's time to photograph them for the final animation. And by some miracle, I actually have access to professional grade equipment to do that with. You see, I go to a school with a big film program, and they actually have a small room just for animation. Other people who have tried cell animation in recent years have struggled to get the lighting set up and everything just right because the cells are very reflective. So I was super lucky to have this professional perfect setup all ready to go to take the photos. Oh, and this animation room also has an Acme hole punch. I neglected to mention this, but I actually hole punched all my cells in advance. This is how you line up the cells perfectly, and you put the holes into a peg bar like this. There's usually supposed to be 3 holes, but the hole punch was actually kind of broken at the time, so I was only able to punch 2, but they got the job done. The last step is just cleaning it up in Photoshop, and I'm trying to make it look clean, but not to the point where it looks digital, right? I want to preserve the cell animated look. That's the whole point of doing this for real. But this part actually ended up taking way longer than I thought. Some cells took as long as 1 to 2 hours to clean up, which is kind of awful. And with that, it was pretty much over. I just had to assemble it all in some editing software, and then it was done. So without further ado, please enjoy the latest SpongeBob episode, Necronomicon, or whatever it's called, as if it were from season 1. Yeah, I'll have the, evil pancakes.
Evil pancakes.
Coming right up! Mr. Krabs, are you sure this is safe?
Safe? Was the Titanic safe?
No.
Get back to work, boy.
Evil pancakes. Ingredients include the soul of Cthulhu. Where on earth are we gonna find that?
Never leave home without it.
So there it is.
Oh,
That's
wow.
my homage to one of my absolute favorite shows. I'm pretty happy with how it came out. Obviously, you can tell it's fan-made. The dialogue is a little stupid. It's not nearly as clever as what they actually would have wrote. The animation isn't quite there either, but I hope that I captured some kind of feeling of season 1 of SpongeBob. But let me know what you think. Did I get kind of close? The Cthulhu mask was just some weird thing from eBay, by the way, if anyone was wondering. I thought it looked kind of like something that might be green screened into an early SpongeBob episode. Again, huge shout out to Yin Yang Geo. This would not have nearly been as good without his contribution, so go follow him on Twitter. Really great stuff. Shout out to the voice actors too, and go check out Street Gaming. It seems like they have a lot of fun over there. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. If this video does well, I plan to do a lot more like it. And lastly, thank you for watching all the way to the end. Seriously, that's actually a great help for me. And you know what? I have a little treat for you. That's right, I have a little treat for watching all the way to the end because I know what you want to see. You want to see more SpongeBob voice actors cursing.
Oh, no, 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 no.
Well, take it away, boys.
No, no, no. We're not going to watch that part. No, no, no. As entertaining as it might be, we won't do that. That was very cool, actually. I think he actually did a very good job with, like, the vibe and, like, the script. It was very, 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 very much something you would see from, like, season 1 or season 2 of SpongeBob. Very, very cool. All right, let's find something else now. Give that a like. Let's see. Doctor reacts to Cartoon Network medical scenes? Nah. Why do chain chomps sound different in Japan? Oh, do they? Why Majora's Mask's blue dog took 25 years to win the race? Oh, I've never played Majora's Mask, so I have no idea what that's about. 14 most awkward tech fails of all time? Nah. I decided to do a speed run oh. That game takes 9,600 hours? What? Ingredients for Japanese cuisine. Easy Japanese food recipes. Oh, it looks like a video in Spanish. Real chefs attempt to cook together in Overcooked. That's probably pretty entertaining. Classic SpongeBob would not get along with modern SpongeBob. Yeah, I would agree. I feel like they made modern, like, they made I feel like the more modern version of the characters, they're like more dumb, like they're more stupid, and not in a good way, right? Like I don't like how dumb they made SpongeBob. Like SpongeBob, he was never really dumb. He was just, you know, naive, oblivious to certain things. Patrick, he's not that much dumber than he already was, but they made him more brain dead, I guess. Let's see. The tragedy of humongous entertainment. Oh, I'm interested in this. The humongous entertainment made like these like these educational computer games for kids. But what's the tragedy? Oh, this is a long video. I don't think we have time for it. This is over an hour. We only have about 10-ish minutes left of the stream. Maybe another day. Okay. Disney villains, voice actors, live versus animation, side-by-side comparison. Oh, that sounds like fun. Oh, that's a 20-minute video, though. Let's see. Millennials react to 2000s songs you probably forgot about. Meh. Iron Chef dad judges viral food. The secret update of Super Mario Bros. 3. What? They updated it? But that's like... How do you update? Maybe in later releases. When a director breaks all of Pixar's rules? What? That sounds interesting. It's in the thumbnail, it's Mr. Incredible.
You know, in Monsters Inc. it was fur. We've got fur. I'm here to confirm we have fur. You know, then it would be Nemo. You know, we have underwater lighting and we can do subsurface scattering. And then
this is the always playful, much beloved animation director Brad Bird, the director behind animated classics like Ratatouille and The Iron Giant. And here he's explaining the technical difficulties facing probably his most incredible film.
With Incredibles, our whole film was constructed of all the things that computers were still bad at. They were bad at humans, they were bad at hair.
So, the computers were bad.
They were bad at cloth, they were bad at water, they were bad at fire.
Really bad. It was 2004, and while Pixar had quickly developed a reputation for pushing the boundaries in animation, Bird and his team took it one step further.
One of the challenges of the film was just the scope of it. We had a shot underwater, shots in a jungle, shots in a boring office cubicle, shots around the family dinner table, E's house, which is like Bauhaus meets Greek ruins. The variety of environments in this movie was enormous. I think that you can get a grasp of the number of different locations.
I hope you can get a grasp of the number of locations because Lord knows.
For reference, Monsters Inc. had 50 individual locations. The Incredibles had over 200. There was fire, there was water, wind, clothing, all the most annoying elements of 3D animation at the time.
This is a hobo suit, darling. You can't be seen in this.
We have something like 95 costume changes, and not just t-shirts, but suits and shirts and ties.
But The Incredibles presented one major problem that Pixar hadn't had to deal with before.
When they started to think about what it was going to take to do this film, one of the big issues was, oh man, we got humans. Now, the reason humans are tricky is you're one, I'm one, and all of a sudden we have expectations about how those humans are supposed to behave, how they're supposed to look, what their attributes are.
So the animation team did what they do best. They invented some specialized controls, some software commands that would let the characters do what they'd never done before.
We've got characters that got big hunkin' muscles. We got characters that have some mass. So when I start running, I want to be able to control that mass, finesse that mass, such that I can actually jiggle. So we started to look at what kind of jiggle controls we would have.
Having the actual material, the skin, feel organic and alive would allow us to get away with less of the minute detail.
We have characters that have supernatural arms, stretchy, movie, bendy kinds of things. Fundamentals of animation, but now customized for humans.
And despite all these technical limitations and how hard they were working,
You know, we were on the edge of failure the entire time we were making it.
Bird still implored his team not to take any shortcuts.
But you want everything to be believable. You want to believe that these are living things that have feelings and pasts.
For instance, in Monsters Inc., the animators gave Boo pigtails because it would be easier to animate and replicate. When they asked Bird whether they could do that on The Incredibles, he rejected the option, instead encouraging his animators to push themselves for the sake of the character.
And it's great that Violet's got her hair behind both her ears. She's ready for action now.
Yeah, that was the visual idea there and why having her hair work was such an issue. As a filmmaker, you're always looking for ways to say things visually. And having her hair start out in front of her face like something she's hiding behind and then gradually get pushed back, and even having Mom push it back in the Karen Miyazaki scenes was key to showing what's going on.
How are you doing that? I don't know. Mario, don't stop.
This little story feeds into Bird's animation ethos and what he believes animation is truly capable of. Sure, the animation was groundbreaking and the technology they created helped shape many future films, Pixar and otherwise, but Bird was always fixated on trying to show that animation was for adults too.
And people keep saying, the animation genre. It's not a genre. A Western is a genre. Animation is an art form, and it can do any
That's very
genre.
true.
You know,
It's
it
very,
can be
very
a
true.
detective film, a cowboy film, a horror film, an R-rated film, or a kid's fairy tale. But it doesn't do one thing. Free.
So how does Brad Bird use his animation to tell us about his character? How does he create any depth? Well, first he comes up with a simple story.
What if you had a superhero who was not able to be a superhero and is a little older?
You know I'm retired from hero work.
As am I, Robert. Yet here we are.
This is the bare bones of The Incredibles, a super family with superpowers that reflect their familial archetypes. Bob is meant to be the strong father, Helen the flexible mother, Violet the awkward teenager, Dash the energetic kid, and Jack the chaotic baby. So that's fun and leads to some exciting action scenes, but Bird did everything he could to emphasize that this was, first and foremost, a story about the characters.
And, you know, most superhero movies begin with the big whammo blammo thing. And I thought if we started in this kind of strange, you know, the film's kind of beat up and old, and we're looking at them in some kind of personal documentary sense that would put the emphasis on them being people.
This is Sean.
That's fine.
The fact that they are talking about things
didn't need
that
to
they
do on that one.
think
That's fine.
their future will involve. So Frozone is the ladies' man, even though we later see him as being married.
Where is my super suit?
Bob is talking about settling down, although later he has a problem with it. And Helen can't imagine settling down, and she turns out to make the transition very well.
So Bird takes time to slow down the story to flesh out his character's motivations, but that doesn't mean he shies away from the action too.
Brad has always said we have to have character-based action sequences, and a lot of Brad's discussions on 100 Mile Dash was let's just not do the cool thing, let's have that, but also, okay, this little kid is using his powers for the first time. What kind of stuff is he doing?
He discovers through it, you know, what he can do.
Right.
He doesn't know what he can do.
That's the point of the sequence. Is that it's not just a chase sequence. It's a kid discovering that he can do a lot more than he thought he could do.
I'm alive.
And it's through action sequences like this that Bird communicates the message or the lesson of the film. Initially, the Pars are told to hide their abilities in the fear of being ostracized or arrested by society, but it isn't until they truly unleash their powers that they become the best and happiest version of themselves. So the message is pretty simple: embrace your true self, your talents, and you'll be the best you that you can be.
I think this is actually...
But like any truly great movie, the discourse is a little more complicated.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We're so close to getting everyone to 40, guys.
While Universal Excellence is a touching sentiment and something I took away from the movie when I was 10 years old, the villain also makes some interesting counterpoints.
This is because I don't have powers, isn't it? Well, not every superhero has powers, you know. You can be super without them.
Syndrome is a non-super who desperately worshipped Mr. Incredible as a kid.
Well, I'm Incrediboy!
What?
Yeah.
His special talent is his intelligence, and he designs technology to artificially replicate being a super. However, in a moment that contradicts the film's message, Mr. Incredible completely dismisses him.
Fly home, buddy.
He's seemingly not special enough, which then comes full circle when Syndrome returns as a real threat, forcing Bob to take notice.
Buddy?
My name is not Buddy!
The idea here is to have our villain be a little bit sympathetic. The roots of this problem go back. Bob made a mistake back then, not treating the kid with a little more grace.
So what the hell is the movie actually saying? Does Brad Bird really think that everyone's special, or is Syndrome actually right when he said,
Is it better to have everyone equally leveled or only a few beefed up? It's really up to you. There are, it's like two different approaches, right? You can either have like a few that are like beefed up, like you said, and you just rely on those characters only, which you could totally do. My decision was to get everybody leveled equally so that I could easily switch between them, because not everyone has the same abilities, and different situations are going to call for different party members. That's just me. I totally could have just relied on Golbez, who's like level 45 and like is super strong, right? But I wanted to be able to have the flexibility of switching to whichever character I needed whenever I wanted. So that's why I'm trying to level everybody. My goal is to get everyone to 40, because I feel like that might be a safe number to progress into the next dungeon that in the main in the main story. Because when we first got here, we were getting demolished. So that's why we've been grinding all these days, so we can actually get everyone up to a decent level so that they can survive fighting all these monsters. I'm like, and obviously I would love for them to be even stronger than level 40. And I'm just gonna let that happen naturally as we progress in the upcoming dungeon. But yeah.
And when everyone's super, no one will be.
Perhaps Bird is only celebrating the truly exceptional individuals amongst us.
Thank you, Mr. Incredible. You've done it again.
Yeah, you're the best.
No, I'm just.
Well, this is definitely what his biggest critics think. Specifically, they equate his messages of individuality with the objectivism of author Ayn Rand. In extremely simple terms, Rand believed that the truly great amongst us should, as much as possible, not be shackled by law or conventions.
Right now, honey, the world just wants us to fit in, and to fit in, we just gotta be like everybody else.
Perfection should instead be celebrated and rewarded with the appropriate social advantages. This idea bleeds through to a lot of superhero content. Here, the world falls prey to an egomaniac when they outlaw supers.
It is time for their secret identity to become their only identity.
But are saved by the truly exceptional Parr family. So, unhampered excellence is the solution. And this same theme that society places unnecessary constraints on exceptional individuals crops up in a number of Bird's other films.
And the truth is, I have no talent at all.
Ratatouille, which projects a similarly positive message that anyone can cook, also emphasizes that if you don't have any talent, you should get out of the way of people who do. So here, and in the sequel, mind you, the fact that a non-super who harnesses their special skills is presented as the villain emphasizes Bird's Randian undertones.
You mean you killed off real heroes so that you could pretend to be one?
But honestly, these criticisms seem to be forgetting one big detail.
Release me! Now!
Or what?
I'll crush her.
It was showing the blatant disregard Syndrome has for life. And I feel like a lot of our villains in real life have. Oftentimes it's decorated as a higher calling, but it isn't.
Syndrome is objectively a bad guy. He has a special talent, but uses it for evil. The ideas of good, bad, and the morals of breaking unjust laws for the good are explored in more detail in the sequel, but Bird's movies always punish those who use unlimited power for their selfish purposes. All of his movies grapple with objectivist themes, that's undeniable.
You always say be true to yourself, but you never say which part of yourself to be true to.
But they don't conclude that doing what's best for the self is what's best for everybody. Instead, Bird seems to be promoting doing what's right, and what's right is what benefits the most people. The Parr family saved the city, Remy saves Alfredo's legacy and his family, and the Iron Giant trends from what makes him exceptional and would harm others to what makes him exceptional and would benefit others.
I promise I'll slow up. I'll only be the best by a tiny bit.
In summary, The Incredibles doesn't offer any easy answers because there aren't any. Building a society that benefits everybody, gives everyone the same amount of freedom, while also allowing people as much freedom as possible to exercise their unique
Now I want to watch
is
Disney
basically impossible.
Disney and Pixar
We're superheroes.
movies.
What can happen?
But it's cool to know that
Maybe
Brad
we'll
Bird
have
is
another
constantly adding
movie
to
watch
this
along
conversation with
this
some
week.
entertaining and innovative films, and he's using his animation superpowers for good.
If I did what they were doing, I'd be going, hey, I just made a miracle happen. Come on, little respect here. But these guys are quiet, and they just they make these films absolutely possible.
Edna mode. And guest.
Edna Mode. And guest. She's so good. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and wrap up here. Let me take this off the screen, check off the audio. Let me bring back the in-game music. All right. Thank you all so much for joining me today. We're getting super, super close. Everyone is at least 39 now, actually. Aside from Ursula and Gekko. We're so close to getting it to everyone to 40. We might be able to do that next time, actually. Next time will be actually next week. We are done with Final Fantasy for this week, unless I just happen to decide to play more this week. But more than likely, we will just continue this next week on Monday. And no stream tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna be a rest day. Well, then we'll see each other again on Friday for our weekly Genshin Impact stream. So that is it, I think. Yeah. Thank you all again so much. Feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed the stream. Leave a comment if you would like to share your thoughts. Please subscribe on YouTube and or follow on Twitch if you'd like to see more Final Fantasy streams. And if you're going to bed, I hope you rest well and have sweet dreams. If your day is just getting started, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And I hope to see you all on Friday. Ta-ta! Otsumika!